Hey everybody, Name Unbroken here, and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. You may notice now I've got some audio playing in the background, and that is because I recorded this while listening to some music, and I don't have a way to edit that out because it comes in through my speakers along with game sounds and everything. So it's completely silent in this. There's no in-game sounds. It's just strictly the music in the background because I can't very well put this on YouTube and have artist music playing in the background that I don't have permission to play. So right now I'm using the audio library and the creation tools of YouTube, trying out some different musics and stuff, and some of it's actually pretty good. I like it. So yeah, you'll hear that in the background while I just talk over this at about 4 times regular speed. So you'll notice here that's a satellite, kind of like the first one that I set up a long time ago. Basically, what I wanted to do is try to explore more of Kerbin instead of just the solar system. So I'm setting up here a polar satellite because I thought it would be cool to basically, well, like I said, to explore Kerbin. And this right here is a very, very bad probe that's just supposed to sit on the ground. It's got a little ion engine, which turns out doesn't seem to do anything in Kerbin atmosphere. Doesn't have any power whatsoever, so I'll probably have to attach many of them to actually make it work. But that's okay, I don't really need it to work. I just had it there just to try to slow descent, which it did not do. But turns out I didn't need it to, so that's okay, so I didn't bother to change it. But basically, I'm just sending a probe to the North Pole with some science-y stuff attached to it, like thermometer and barometer and that kind of good stuff, and some communication devices. I kind of realized that the Kerbin planet is bare and empty. The Kerbals seem to have their own little space center, and the rest of the world is unoccupied. It's like they were made and evolved and then looked at the stars and were like, that's where we're going. We don't care what's on this planet. We want to see what's on other planets. And so just decided it would be cool to set up little probes and stuff around the planet, and just to give them an opportunity to learn more about what their own planet is like. So, and then I decided to make a base, but we'll get to that shortly. So this is the North Pole probe coming down. It's got some landing gear. Like I said, it's not the best probe because it doesn't really, the engine that's on it doesn't do anything. So I have this little staging thing set up, and the little liquid fuel engine and liquid fuel there, and that seems to work really well. And the parachutes on it work really well. I just had to, I overshot it here and had to kind of go back and fly toward the center of the pole there. So I got relatively close to the center. Not exactly where I was wanting to, but that's alright. I'm not the best at aiming stuff and aiming where I land, but it's pretty close. So that's cool with me. So you'll see here the parachute should detach shortly. I've got the ion engine on at this point, but it really doesn't do anything, sadly. I should have put something else on it, but I didn't really need it, so I just kind of left it there. All the probes that I sent 3 of them, 1 to each pole and then 1 on the other side of the planet from where the Space Center is. Didn't actually need an engine on there, so I didn't bother to change it, but in retrospect I probably should have put wheels on these probes so they could be mobile, but I didn't think to do that, but that's alright. So there's the North Pole probe, and then I think the next one that I send, I'm just getting all the science equipment on, I think the next one that I send is actually to the South Pole. But I know I also sent one to the other side of the planet, opposite from the KSC, and I might in the future send some more to other areas of the planet. I haven't completely decided about that. So there's our South Pole one, and I decided I would just kind of skip showing you exactly how that was done, like I did with the North Pole probe. But there's a reason for the satellite that I had sent up earlier. I'd sent a polar satellite to kind of map out the poles, obviously, and I had also sent a scout plane, kind of, just to look for a suitable area for a possible base, but I didn't put that in here because it didn't really do very well. Like, I got the plane up and to the poles, but they couldn't really get back, and just decided I didn't really need a scout plane to do this, because you can, I mean, it's the poles and it's pretty flat, and the satellite works pretty well to get a good idea of where to go. Yeah, so I will get a base set up here shortly, as you'll see. In the meantime, this is more, well, basically more of the satellites. This video is also a little bit rushed because 0.22 was just released, was it yesterday? Or the day before? I think it was the day before, yeah, the day before yesterday, so 2 days, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I recorded this the day before it was released, and I'm just getting the audio set up to it now because I had to work the past couple days. So like I said, it's kind of rushed. Obviously the speed is sped up because I had a lot of time, a lot of footage on this one that was just taking up too much time, so just kind of sped it up faster. I will eventually get back to this video. I just want to kind of play around with 0.22 first and maybe make a video of that. I'm not really sure. I mean, there's already a bunch of people who have videos of 0.22 explaining what it does, what it's about, what you can do. So I don't know if I'm going to record yet or if I'm just going to play around on there. But if you don't know, 0.22 is out now, been out for 2 days, and it's the first introduction of the career mode along with science. You get to actually science now, which would have been great for this particular mission, as I'm going to be setting up an Arctic base here just shortly, as soon as this thing lands. Yeah, you can see a piece fell off of that probe. I think it was the decoupler, but that's alright, we don't need it. And later it's not there, because it randomly blew itself up. It's kind of weird. But anyway, so yeah, I have the sciencey stuff attached to this. This is in the sandbox mode. It would have been great to do this in the actual like career mode, I guess. So maybe in the future I'll try doing something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so I will get back to this here and adding on to this base. This is, by the way, this is the rocket that's sending the first part of the base, which basically is just a little habitat area and command pod thing, or observation pod, with a rover on the top, which I was really particularly proud of. But I will get back to it and hopefully add on. I have to try to do some trial and error, but hopefully add on to the base and make some little habitat modules that connect. Yeah, and it wasn't really the best rocket, because there it would kind of lose control whenever I would try to tip south, or any direction for that matter, and then rotate, but I could get it back in control. I think it might just be a little too top-heavy, because it has, you know, the command pod and the rover and stuff, even though the rover is really light. But anyway, yeah, I was really happy about that rover. I had to do some testing, change up some of the buttons and whatnot. So docking ports I found out, are cross-feed capable, and so the first launch I didn't know that, so when I got to the Arctic, the rover was out of fuel, because it took from the rover's fuel, so I had to redo it, which is kind of lame, but not really a big deal. I just had to disable the cross-feed on there just so I could leave some fuel for the rover to actually get it off the rocket, or off of the habitat module as it is perched on the top. And I was trying to aim for the probe here that I had set up, but didn't quite make it. I'm not really the best at aiming my landings. I got really close to it. I think I'm just over 1 kilometer away. But I think, if I remember correctly, I actually managed to get this little first stage base thing here set up closer to the center of the South Pole, which is kind of what I had intended to do with the probe in the first place. So yeah, this is me just trying to bring it down, trying to kind of aim it a little bit closer to the probe. I think I did a decent job, but couldn't get it exactly where I wanted, but that's alright. I got it close enough, and like I said, I think it's closer to the center of the pole anyway, which is what I had wanted to do. So this is just to start off with. There's a little rover there, and there's room for 5 Kerbals. It's got satellite and radio, and then all the other like sciencey stuff that was in the sandbox mode of 0.21, which is basically just thermometer, barometer, ravioli detector thingy, and accelerometer, which I had forgot to turn on until after it was landed and not accelerating anymore. But that's okay. I forgot. Yeah, the first time I had launched this thing, before even the cross-feed fuel fiasco, I didn't set up the parachutes right, and it tipped over, and so the whole habitat came crashing down and killed the 4 Kerbals. It left Jeb, though. It left Jeb alive. And then the rover came off, and that crashed. So Jeb was there alive, basically, with just crashed stuff, and it was quite sad. His comrades died. So that was it. That was the rover. It's off. It handles pretty well. I mean, it's can flip over easily, but most rovers can do that anyway. But as long as I just don't turn it super duper sharp, it seems to work pretty well. So there's Jeb testing out the rover, and I think I edited it out, but I just drove to that little pod that's, yeah, just out in that direction, and just kind of walked up to it, and then got back in and drove back. So I think I just edited the part out where he stops at the probe. Said he's just testing a little drive. Doesn't take very long to get there. It actually it's got a pretty decent speed to it, and enough solar panels, thankfully, to stay charged. Like, it loses a little bit of charge. I thought I cut this out. I guess I didn't. What did I cut out then? Oh well. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing there. He's just testing it, I guess, to make sure it's still working. And then gonna head back. But, what was I saying? I get sidetracked so easily. Yeah, the rover handles pretty well. It goes pretty fast. Because I mean, it went over the kilometer to get to the probe in just a short amount of time, which was nice. I guess they don't really need a probe on the pole, because there's nothing to do except drive to that little... Or I guess they don't need the rover on the pole, because there's nothing to do except drive to the probe. But I guess it's handy, as the probe is sort of a part of their base. Their Arctic Research Facility, as I'm calling it, or ARF for short. And the rover there is the... I like this, the ARF rover. Yes, very, very bad pun. Very bad joke on my part. It made me smile, though, so I went with it. So yeah, the ARF, the Arctic Research Facility. It's got some sciencey stuff, got some Kerbals there. Jeb is there. Bill and Bob are doing other things at the moment. So Jeb's there, he's in command, which is why he gets to sit on the rover, and nobody else does. But yeah, that's basically about it. There's not a whole lot left to this. Like I said, I'll try to have to play around with how to add on to it, but I want to add more stuff to it. More buildings, more habitat space for more Kerbals, and hopefully try to set up a transportation system so they can get to and from the facility. At the moment, they just get there by launching a rocket, which is fine. I guess it's one way to do it. That is the whole speciality of the Kerbals, seeing as how they made rockets into space before they explored their own planet. So I may make a plane to set up a little transportation system to get to and from the research facility. I might actually set up little little markers, I guess, to work as a makeshift runway, so I know where to aim for and where to land, or where to try to land, since I'm not very good at the landings. But yeah, anyway, and that way I can switch out who's at the facility and who's not, because I'm sure they don't want to spend the rest of their lives trapped in the Arctic doing boring research. Who knows, they might like it. I can't really read what this says in the editor very well. Something along the lines of... actually, what does that say? Yeah, I can't read it in the editor here. I don't even remember what I said. something about how the Kerbals had always looked to the sky and space as being the open, unending frontier, and leaving their planet mostly unexplored until now. It was basically just to emphasize that this is the first attempt at a research facility on their own planet to learn more about it, I guess. And I picked the South Pole, the Arctic. Well, I guess it's not really an Arctic if there's no Antarctica. I picked the South Pole just because more research seems like it's done on our planet on the South Pole. I don't really know why that is. Anyway, so that's what they're doing, just for funsies. Yeah, this is just me lining up to get a picture here of the whole team. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.